shining here on this show. So I do want you to know today, Chris, that
So who's the people that come? Like,
hang on. We are live right now. I just wanted to let you know we are live, Chris, and we are recording at this time. So I wanted to let you know the kind of people that come on this show, Chris. I just want to let you know, kind of key you in on what's going on here at the live nichebot show for gold and platinum users, is that people who are, we also very much respect when people put away their mobile devices and don't text during the show. And since you are one of our guests, our impromptu guests today, I just wanted to share that with you and appreciate you respecting the homage here. Anyway, so listen here, bro. This is what we're talking about today. We're talking about how exactly would it be, and we know you're in the massage business, kind of taking you through on a step-by-step basis how you would launch your presence online in the massage therapist industry. So that's what I'm going to kind of take you through, because I want to give people a kind of overview, because, I mean, right now you don't have any website or any type of web presence. Is that correct?
yes, it is. That is 100% correct.
Okay, so one of the things I want to do in this show, we're going to go, say, for about 20 minutes, and I want to kind of give you I want to give you a really beginner's lay approach. I want to have somebody that is completely brand new and will, of course, take any sort of live questions from any show attendees, if they have any, which they can go ahead and type them into the upper right-hand box. But we're mainly going to be spotlighting, taking Chris here as a case study and kind of sharing with him, taking someone who is so brand new. I mean, he doesn't have a website. He has an email address and a business card, and we want to try to explain to Chris exactly how he would go about launching his presence and what he would do first and foremost, and how to do his keyword research. And he probably doesn't even know what keyword research is. Am I correct, Chris?
That's accurate information.
Okay, because we want to make this case study as truthful and completely honest as possible. And as far as I'm concerned, my whole shtick has been online for several years, being completely and utterly transparent. So that's what we're going to do real quick, but we're going to go through real quick the introduction about the show. So let's go ahead and start the motor up, and so to speak. And I want to welcome everyone to the live call-in show. This is the show where you get the intervention you need to blow right past those obstacles that stand in your way. Now, I'm your host and founder of nichebot X since 2004. And let me real quickly tell you why I created this show for gold and platinum users. Now, first of all, it's like anything, especially males are very, very synonymous with doing this. They unfortunately tend to forget reading the owner's manual whenever they get anything. They just start putting stuff together. Am I right, Chris?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I do that. I think you're probably, that would characterize you in the way you attack things, maybe?
It's the male's way, I think.
It is the male's way. And that's one of the reasons why I created the show, was because I believe people need genuine intervention. And that is why we did this for gold and platinum users. Platinum users actually get one free hour of coaching every single month to kind of get them private. This is more of a group coaching environment. Now, the content here is customized towards you each and every week, and really this show is about you getting clarity and having breakthroughs, because there's nothing worse than sitting there and only having the knowledge that you have that is unfortunately sometimes not enough for you to have a breakthrough. You need someone else to help you through that. So breakthroughs come really with repeated exposure over and over to techniques that work. Now let me ask you, Chris, when you started out doing massage therapy, did you have to go through repeated sessions of practice of certain techniques?
Every week we had 3 full body massages that we got and that we gave to people.
Gotcha. And how long was that before they set you loose?
Well, that's the first school that I went to was after a year. It was a year.
So you did about a year of practice, would you say, like where you went in and practiced on other people?
Yep, and came out of there feeling like a god, because when you get 3 massages a week, you're not feeling much pain.
Right, exactly. So you know what we were saying. You were getting massages.
You get them and you
give them. Okay.
You kind of
so you understand.
Finish getting it, because it's a kind of, it goes against the whole massage. You have to get one and then you have to go give one.
Well, but here's the thing. I mean, it makes sense that in order to have true appreciation for your practice of this industry, you got to know what it feels like. If you've never gotten a massage before that, you got to feel what it's like to get it, so you can kind of understand what it's like to give it. So you understand the sensitivities of people.
Both sides.
Right. So anyways, the replay of the show will show up in the live show directory over at nichebot.com/live show, or over on the blog at nichebot.com/blog. Now, real quickly, let me share you my epiphany with you that occurred back in 2004 when I really discovered the power of backlinks, and that is getting a hypertext link on some other site pointing to your site, which is incredibly important and is extremely powerful in the eyes of Google to get top positions. And basically, you want to use your keyword phrase. Here's an example of what it looks like with the code, and usually you see that keyword phrase right there in a blue hyperlink. Now, I use reciprocal linking to get backlinks to nichebot, and I know that doesn't mean anything to you, Chris, but and I used it for other sites, but now, kind of techniques have changed here in 2011, and you got to get a little bit more sophisticated. But you should really find whatever style of inbound links and start putting it to practical use. Getting inbound links really trumps the content on your page, and I'm sure you didn't know this, Chris, but what's amazing is sometimes you can have literally 2 words of content on the page plus your navigation on your site and still get that page ranked at the top of Google. Cool. All with the power of getting backlinks from other sites. You can get them through blogs, free blogging services like blogger.com, wordpress.com, those kind of things. I'm sure you've heard of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyways, let's move on. And real quickly, if you need some sort of link building strategies for your site, go ahead and go to Google. Just type in link building strategies 2011. There's a number of good articles right at the top. Now, this show, like I said, is about getting clarity and breakthroughs. And we're going to talk to Chris right now. Everyone right now is muted on the line. And if you need to ask a question anytime during this webinar, just go ahead through your panel on the right-hand side, just type in your question, and if you want to have a live chat so we can really get some real intense live intervention with you, just go ahead and put live chat in front of your question. We're going to go anywhere sometimes from 20 minutes to sometimes 60 to 90 minutes. It really depends on the number of questions and the amount of material we're going to cover. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Go ahead and submit your questions now if you have any, but we're going to go ahead and talk to Chris right now and kind of explain someone who's a complete newbie at this stuff, right?
That's right.
Kind of take you through the whole process. I'm going to go ahead and put the live wrap-up show screen up just in case, but we're going to go to a brand new screen. So now obviously, since you are an offline business, you're not necessarily an online business, we're going to start out. So obviously, right now, what you would do, and before we even get started talking about keyword research, what you would do is you need obviously a website or some sort of blog where you're going to talk about your services. Make sense?
Of course.
Okay. Now, what do you, just to kind of get an understanding of your conception of this stuff, and don't feel embarrassed, there's no right answer or wrong answer, so tell me what you believe is important for constructing a website.
Is
that a loaded question?
Yeah, well, yes. First of all, I've never tried to start up a website, and second of all, I would have to give you a hearsay question. What maybe some other people have told me.
Okay. Well, just tell me what you kind of have a general sense or idea about.
Well, you're just kind of, you want to put on your website you want to illustrate what's the key points to your business, maybe your operating hours, your cost per session,
Right.
your been around, your professionalism, how long you've been around,
Right.
how long you've known doing what you've done,
Sure.
and how to contact you,
Right. And how to book an appointment right away, right?
Right.
And of course,
Which actually I would. It's funny you asked this because I really do want to find and make kind of more entrepreneurial my idea of massage therapy in some way, and marketing on the internet is probably one of the cheaper routes to market my.
It really is. And even though, I mean, let me ask you, do you think, I mean, because obviously Google is a worldwide search engine, and people all over the country, even outside the world, outside in other countries, are searching on Google.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, just in your very newbie state of mind, would you believe that people would be searching for massage therapists online today that are in the local area here where we're at? We're
I think that some people forget how to do it any other way. Some people don't even know what Yellow Pages are anymore. That's how
That's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
It's a huge paradigm shift because remember, you used to go and for a plumber, or you have some emergency at the house, or you need a security guard because someone is stalking you, whatever it might be.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, but whatever it might be, you usually go to the freaking, to the Yellow Pages.
Right.
You would sit there and go,
It's crazy how quickly it moved too.
Exactly.
It's just like, whoa, what happened to that?
Exactly. It's literally gone. And I mean, I don't even know if I have a Yellow Pages. I think I do, just to have a memory of what it's like. You know what I'm saying? But okay, so even you are really kind of adept at knowing kind of what's going on with the whole how people have changed the way they do things.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you too do the same thing.
Yeah, but then I would have to, honestly, with the limited knowledge that I have about how to set up a website, I would have to either hire someone like you or have somebody like you as my friend help me try to research how I'm supposed to set it up, because I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing with regard.
Right. Yeah. And and nowadays I got to tell you, it's really interesting because nowadays it's 2011 now.
Yeah.
The internet has really evolved. Where it used to be really difficult, you used to have these special programs on your computer to be able to erect a website and know what HTML is. Nowadays, a person like yourself who's completely, utterly just starting fresh, wouldn't know what to do, limited knowledge, you don't even have to have knowledge about any of this programming or coding or anything.
What does that stand for, by the way?
HTML?
Yeah.
Hypertext Markup Language.
Okay.
Okay, so HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. So, because basically, let me show you. I'm going to show you right now on the screen what code looks like, and I'm going to show you what it looks like with this Google page. That's what code looks like, okay? Does that look like anything that you can relate to?
It doesn't even, I don't even think I can see a word there. Is there a word?
There is words like padding, bottom,
Start,
who would think,
section.
who would know what padding bottom is? What is that, like northern tissues?
That's like,
tissue,
or either that or some sort of new gynecological padding.
Exactly. So here's the thing. I mean, see, this is the really thing is you don't even need to know how this page was constructed and what's going on, because there's so much going on.
Because I would be lost as 100 times.
I mean, well, you would also think you've got to go to school for this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, here's the deal, and no big deal. Don't worry. This is uncensored. We want to make sure this is uncut, and we want your live, raw reaction. Here's the thing. Now
you just got one.
Yeah, great. I don't mind it. I mean, we are not covered, like I told you in the beginning of this.
So I was making sure of
by the FCC. Okay, so now I really, I want you to have. Now, here's the thing. Right now, you know Zip, and I want to show people
like
that
a babe.
Huh?
Like just a little babe.
Just like, I mean, like
just a babe.
That tender skin,
That's right,
just
the whole
starting
nine.
off. Exactly.
Everything's
Haven't
new.
been roughed up by the world or anything.
Nope.
Okay. So anyway, so we want to take you real quick. I'd say let's do this in, say, 20 minutes, and I want to give you, by the time you leave here, our offices, you will leave with an understanding of what you need to do and how you can actually capture, and I really still haven't gotten an answer to my question about
Which one?
about do you actually believe that it's possible on getting actual clients from Google to give you a call on your cell or on your business line. So it's an I don't know, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so what I want to do is I want to give you an understanding of what you would need to do. Forget about all the programming and what you would have to depend on me for. I'm going to give you the sort of outline structure of what you would need to do to actually go home, set up on a typewriter. You wouldn't have to do typewriter. I mean, you go to your computer, you go set up, you pull up what Notepad or Word, and you start typing. And I'll give you an outline of what you need to do to get started, to build a presence, get a website up, what that website should contain, and then also what keyword research is, and kind of give you a general overview of what you would have to do to
come up,
to be able to start and get going. And I want to make it, by the end of this interview, I want to make it completely realistic for you to feel like you personally can make a difference and actually get realistic live visitors. I mean, because that to a lot of people, I got to tell you, is completely foreign. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's foreign. Like, how do I take and get someone who's online searching, get on Google, get listed, and get someone to go to one of my pages and get them to persuade them to pick up the phone and say, Chris, I want to book a massage now.
Yeah,
it's kind of tough.
Yeah, I don't know how.
So anyways, that's what I'm going to give you, the sort of the outline of what you would need to do, and I want to give this so that everyone understands, not just a newbie, but someone who has maybe already constructed a website, needs what really is the essential requirements. And I'm going to give you kind of my secret formula boiled down. Is that cool with you?
Yep.
Okay, so let's get going. So right now, obviously, you're in the massage business. So your client is typically, and this is one of the first things I always say before anyone gets into getting online and creating content and understanding what they have to do before they do any of that marketing junk. I think it's #1 priority to understand right off the bat what your client is like. Now, you already know what your client's like because you service your clients, right?
Right.
Okay? And you get people, I'm sure, when you get to a massage, you talk to them, don't you? You kind of communicate and you get in touch with. So tell me what it's like, kind of what we
talk about?
tend to talk. Well, not the private stuff, but what you're trying to develop a relationship.
Well, what we talk about, like if somebody comes in there for example, for the first time, you will be asking them what sort of well, first of all, obviously you're going to do introductions. Then you want to know if there's any area of their body that they want focused on.
Right.
And then you also want to know if there's any part of their body that you can't touch because or work on because it's contraindicated because they have some sort of health condition that they can't get into. So that's another thing. And then the other things would be like what kind of massage do they like, whether it be deep tissue, soft touch, medium touch, what sort of...
Right. So you're basically, and this is very key because what you're doing is actually essential in what I'm about to say that you actually need to do about your client. You are taking an evaluation of them so you can best meet their needs, right?
Right.
Okay. So that's really, you're almost taking an underlying profile of what this person's mindset is like for the massage. From the outset of that first massage to the next massage that you can carry through, right?
Yeah.
And that's powerful because one of the things that you want to do first before you ever start getting the content ready for your site, before you're going to lay out the pages and how you're going to present yourself, you want to know the profile of your person. right?
Sure.
So you have a profile of kind of, let's just say, not just one person, but basically the overall consensus. You know what the person's needs are, what your client's about. They have not. What is it about? Why are people coming? Why do they want massages?
They come in. The biggest reason is from stress. In LA, we're a stressed out and anxiety-ridden society, as a psychologist once told me.
Right, and you're studying psychology right now, as it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, so you kind of even understand the underlying things of getting into the psyche and what drives people. So the main thing you see is stress.
That's
a
why
driving
they're getting.
factor.
That's the biggest. Pretty much the number one reason people are coming in for massage. Second would be injury, like a muscle aches or little things like shin splints, things that they want worked on. Some people, like for example waitresses, they're on their feet a lot. So there's one woman that comes to see me because her calves are torn up. She can't even walk. She comes into me. She looks like a crippled almost. And then she leaves. She's like, "Oh my God, I can walk again." So she literally comes to see me once a week because of that.
Gotcha. So people either have ailments, they want to relax, they want to reduce their stress, that sort of stuff. So you now, actually right now, before you even get started writing any copy, you already know what motivates people.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. So the next thing I want to cover with you before you even get started writing content, doing any keyword research, getting your website up, one of the most important things is you already kind of understand a key to your clientele, okay, to the base of your client across the broad spectrum, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you serviced a number of clients, more than a handful.
A lot.
Anyways, so one of the things you already have. Unfortunately, a lot of people that are starting new businesses online, they don't necessarily know the profile of their customer that they want to sell to because they just got in a business, right? And they're trying to make the first sale. So those people really, and this is just to them, a message to them, they would need to go like to a forum, to other blogs, to kind of see what people are talking about and what their mindset is, what is their primary motivation. And we kind of covered, you and I asked you some poignant questions of kind of uncovering really what are the hot points of people. What's really going to be one of the 2-3 primary decision-making points that's going to get a person to make a decision to go pick up the phone and call you for a massage, right? Especially because we're talking about these are people who are strangers, right?
Yeah, and so because I have a question for you real quick while we're on that topic is that I don't know, I'm sure you have a lot of experience helping people maybe kind of market or have these keywords that you're talking about.
Right, we're going to talk about those.
But what I was going to ask was, because of the fact that massage, especially in Los Angeles, is a very health-oriented, upscale, some areas like around these areas where we live in.
Right.
And also, people are ready to do massage, but because of that, there's unbelievable competition for massage therapy. And so what I was going to ask you was, is there certain ways to kind of get over the overshadowing of other massage places? Like, in other words, is there things that we could put down on a web page or whatever that will be like different from those other, because there's 85 million of them out there.
Oh, of course, and everyone wants a piece of the pie. And I got to tell you, most people are using traditional marketing techniques, which unfortunately don't work because they're not. Yeah. People are unfortunately not very well versed. They're versed in their massage therapy, but they're not necessarily educated on the marketing side and understanding how to persuade someone to pick up the phone. Because, I mean, I'm sure you agree.
Yeah. Before
someone picks up that phone, they've got to feel some trust in you.
Comfort.
Right, exactly. So that's one of the key components in creating your website is, how am I going to speak to this person to create some comfort with them to the point where they're going to say, wow, this person knows exactly what I want and need, and they're going to deliver it to me.
And one of the scary things that come up with some, for example, females, is that I'm a male and a lot of times females are more comfortable going to females.
Sure.
I was wondering also if there's like a way to get around that barrier. Like, look, this is strictly professional, 20 years of service. I've never, as much of a of a crazy woman-looking guy that I am. I've never ever crossed that boundary within the confines of my professional side. I never
Right.
did that. Even,
so you've never overcome that with women, is what you're saying?
No, I've never. No, what I'm saying is I've never massaged areas on a woman that they wouldn't.
Oh, okay, I got you. You've never been inappropriate, is what you're saying.
Right, ever,
Okay.
not in 20 years.
Right. But you do gain the trust in person with women, right?
For sure, yeah.
To
Immediately.
do massage. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to share with you a way that you can do that from your website for them to reach out to overcome that.
Yeah. How do you do that on the screen? It's difficult.
How do you do that on the screen? Well, we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about obviously, as we all know, I mean, especially if we're trying to date women, it's going to be the words that we say and the way we bring them across that a woman is going to judge whether they're going to go on a date with you. They're going to know. A woman, I think it's like a statistic is within 3 seconds. Do you need to get something to drink?
No, I was going to say we went over. I didn't know.
Oh, no, it doesn't matter. I mean, we could go unlimited amount of time.
Okay.
I mean, I know that, unfortunately, it does get a little involved, but so if we go over even 40 minutes, it's cool. I mean, I want to make sure this is a learning experience for you because, I mean, I probably don't go around bragging about this, but, I mean, I do charge small businesses $250 an hour for my time and corporations $500 per hour. So you're getting consider it like you're getting some consultative value here, that I'm giving you. Yeah. So, and I want you, and one of the reasons I said, I'm going to tell you psychologically why I just said that, because you're going to take this information and you'll actually even have this recording after you're done so you can review it and go over it and know exactly what you have to do. But I did that, actually, it's a psychological thing that I did to bring it up in your mind so you have a perceived value of what this session is about, so you're going to take it and actually use it, okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to talk about, the main way, I'm going to tell you straight up front, we don't even have to, we can cut past all the BS. The way you're going to overcome stuff is through your words. You're gonna immediately. That's the only way. Pictures are only going to do so much because they say different things to different people. Wouldn't you say? Mm-hmm. If I look at a picture of something, I'll interpret it one way and you'll interpret it slightly different, right?
That's the essence of an ink blot.
Exactly. So the way we delineate and distinguish ourselves from other massage therapists is going to be the way we talk. Right. And that we're going to cover that brief psychology of what you would be able to do in your content to be able to break through barriers where other massage therapists won't. Definitely. Does that sound fair?
It does.
Okay, cool. So one of the things we need to cover is we've already discussed motivations, why people do things, and why they're doing massages with you. Mm-hmm. You already know the profile of them, so you already know some key hot buttons.
Right.
Wouldn't you agree that sometimes you have completely dismissed price when it comes to doing a service or buying a product based on the trust and perceived service that someone's going to give you for a product?
Yeah.
Okay, so you paid actually more for a product. So we can reasonably agree that it doesn't necessarily sometimes have to do with price, people making a decision, correct?
Not always, no.
Exactly. So if you're able to transmit value in what and you know obviously what you're doing, God, you got 20 years experience, right? Okay. So you can obviously transmit kind of how you work, what you do, and what a session would be like. And what we want to try to actually do on the web page is create a hypnotic effect of the person actually undergoing what it's like for you to give a massage to someone. But there's a little bit more to that than meets the eye. That's
because that sounds pretty hard to do.
No, it's not. It's not by words. And in fact, one of the things that's remarkable of what I do, and I actually had to do this myself. I had to teach myself to break myself of English grammatical ways.
Mm-hmm.
I had to break myself of the English rules that I was taught in school.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because, unfortunately, English, when you write with English and grammatical rules,
yeah,
don't you agree it kind of turns out a little dry and bland?
it is.
It doesn't have your personality and spunk, kind of like when you're talking, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things I've done is I have transitioned from being this grammatical spelling, all this grammatical rules and English rules, to breaking every single rule. My English teachers would have a shit fit just knowing what I've done and what I do now with my English on the page. And I sometimes do use one word as a paragraph.
But you want to basically stand out with people, and you want to convey what it is to be, like you said, with your personality and character.
Exactly. And let me share with you kind of one of the things that I've actually had people do.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have actually written me back and said they felt like when I was writing them an email, like I was sitting right there talking to them as they were reading it. It was almost as if my presence, my personality, and everything was coming out on the page, and they felt like connected to me. I mean, really, I try to make this the setting of your web page should not be this resume-looking type of thing. It should be a personal thing, not a stale, boring,
and fun
brochure. Well, yeah, fun-looking, absolutely. You want to give that approach of, you want to set the environment, right? Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like you set the environment on a massage, right?
Like ambiance and stuff.
Exactly. You set the ambiance, you turn down the lights, you put some music on.
Candles.
Exactly.
Water.
And see, this is the thing. And see, you're actually taking yourself through the things that you do to kind of make that experience for someone happen. And that's very easy to explain for you on the page. It's just a matter of going through bullet by bullet. So before you start jumping ahead real quick, I can see your mind racing off. So one of the things we've talked about primary motivations. Mm-hmm. And the reason that's so important is because when people, and this has been my experience, is when people go onto a web page and you start going, I do this for 20 years, I've done this, I've done that, what do you think really people are thinking inside? I want to know your honest opinion, and I'll tell you
what they think when they do it. You're saying what they think when they go on a web page.
What they think when they go on a web page and they start reading all about the person that is supposedly going to give this service. This massage therapy
probably. I'm thinking that they would be thinking, yeah, sure, it's not that good. Yeah, he's probably lying about being a cynic about it. Probably.
Right.
Cynicism.
And you're absolutely right, because there's this phenomenon that's going outside, and I'm sure you see it every day. How many billboards do you pass? How many bus stops with benches do you see plastered with advertisements
all over?
So you realize, I mean, I'm sure you feel it. Do you feel that you're sort of like overblown with advertisements?
Yeah,
these things screaming out at you?
We are in this society, especially in LA and like New York, major metropolitan cities for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't mind knowing what the next movie coming up is, but I'm not going to buy something off of a billboard, unless it's really, really good. But okay, so this is the thing that a lot of people are dealing with, and I want you to gain that understanding, because I tell people you want to walk a mile in your customer's shoes. You want to design this page with literally the background mentality, the mental state of mind that you're in their shoes, and you want to write this page for them. So as we're sitting here constructing the page and how we're going to approach this, we talked about the motivations. And why are the motivations so very key? Because it speaks to the primary thing that someone wants to alleviate, right?
It does.
What is it? It's like a pain in their life. Stress is a pain. The pain in their shoulder is a pain, right?
Their wives are a pain?
Whatever it might be. But what do you usually want to do with pain? You want to alleviate it, right?
Yeah.
You want to get rid of it. Like that wife who's a pain.
Pleasure, pain, principle-driven society.
There you go, exactly. So I use that exact thing. People will have a problem, and if you can immediately identify that problem on a page, you can then say they are then hypnotically driven.
Trance.
They're in trance because why? People are done with advertisements. They're done sitting there looking at dry resumes. That's not why they're going to make a decision.
No, that's true.
They're going to make a decision because they feel you know what you can give them. And you're going to give them that service.
That makes sense.
Does that make sense? So when you have the primary motivation, you're able to take that knowledge and go and present that as their problem. Because people are searching online. Wouldn't you agree? They're on Google. When you search online, are you usually trying to solve a problem?
I am.
Okay. So either whether it's answering a question or trying to find the solution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're very a solution-based society. So if you approach things from the fact that you are there to solve a problem for them, okay? So main thing up front that you want to make sure to grab their attention with is to explain what the problem is.
Definitely.
You're stressed, you're tired, you're burnt out, and you need a massage. But you need a massage that's going to take care of every one of your concerns. See, I'm addressing a problem, right?
Right.
And you've
and you're floral about it.
Yeah, and you've come across and you've had massage therapists come and you've been dissatisfied because they didn't necessarily specifically go over your needs. Mm-hmm. And that's where we are different, or where I am different. Mm-hmm. And that's how you would literally talk about it on the page. Well, one of the things I didn't say, mm-hmm. and I'm going to bring up right now, one of the most important things up at the top, to call someone out, because right when you go to a web page, there's a lot of words usually on there, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Now, let me ask you this. When you look at a newspaper, what is it that usually stands out for you?
Headlines.
Bingo! You answered the $60,000 question.
Yeah.
What a headline does, and what does a headline do for you? Tell me.
It brings your attention. It's like a attention seeker. It's
right, but more than the attention, what does the headline usually deliver?
The message, the essential message of the entire article.
So you can do what?
So you can either A, read further into the article, or B, move on to something more you're interested in.
Correct. So you can make a quick decision of whether you're going to pay attention to that article or go on to the next one.
Right.
And this is literally what people are doing online, because when we go and we type something into Google, you have 10 choices, right? Right there on the page, or you can go to the second page if that doesn't answer your question,
That's right?
So one of the things that's important is people are going through these pages, and they're trying to see whether these pages are relevant.
Pages.
Exactly. So how would you say on your web page, which is obviously going to have a bunch of words all over it, and people don't necessarily know what to focus on, and they're not going to know exactly what your message is, what would you put on top of your web page that pulls their attention out?
You're stressed, I'm the answer.
Right, but what is it called?
Oh, what's it called? A kind of like a headline.
It's not kind of like a headline. It is a headline, because what are headlines usually made up of?
Of word, like keywords, key phrase.
Keywords, right, but are they the same size as the print on the regular article?
No, they're 10 times bigger.
They're 10 times bigger. And so what does that do? It's going to
draws all your attention to that.
Exactly. So your primary, you distilled it, you said exactly what a headline is, and it basically gets the gist of exactly what the rest of the page is about. Mm-hmm. So you actually really got a very good headline started right there. You literally have got the start. Your stress, what was it again?
I'm the answer, or I'm your answer.
Yeah, or my massage. My massage is your answer, right?
My massage is your way out.
Right, exactly. So that's what mainly starts them off, because if that gets their attention when you say they're going to read some of the more of the page.
For sure.
Okay, so you now have part of, this is really kind of the secret formula, which a lot of people are doing. Yeah, a lot of people are doing this. They are not doing this, I should say. Your competition, your people that are massage therapists out there, are putting up sites that are like brochures.
They don't know
Oh,
how
we've
to-
been in the business for 20 years.
Right.
See, and do you know what that does? You know what that
makes you bored, and
it makes you bored. But see, here's the thing: is wouldn't you say that we, even you, when you're on Google and you're searching, what do you care about? What do you care about? It's down at the heart of
I
it.
care about my result.
You're right. You're not caring about what the other person has done or what they're doing, right?
Right.
You're caring about what you want, what's in it for you, right? And this is the key component that a lot of people miss in marketing, is that they're talking to people and saying things that people could care less about.
Right.
So when you start talking about what the person's problem is, how do you think that comes across?
It doesn't come
No. Listen. Remember we talked about problem solution side, right? When a person reads your page, say you've created this web page and someone's reading your web page, and you're talking about their situation and their problem, and you're kind of jiving with them. What do you think that does for them? What do you think that makes them feel?
Makes them feel at home.
True. What's another thing?
It makes them see that I care about them as an individual, I guess.
Right. And also that you understand them.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We as human beings want to feel. If someone understands our situation, it's like this person relates to me.
They click. Right.
This person relates to me. So your page is really not about your web page, or one of your web pages is not really about how great you are.
Yeah.
It's about how you understand the person that's reading that web page.
Right.
Make sense?
It does.
So really, when you start writing your web page, first issue is you want to bring out the problem.
That's right.
If you're stressed out, you're torn to the sheets, you're tired of massage therapists that just don't get the knot, rubbed out, or, they're just not giving you the right touch, then this is probably going to be the most important letter you read on the internet.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that would get someone's attention?
It would. Yes.
Right, because it's saying something powerful, and you got to grip people, because people are so,
Like a gripping statement.
right, because people are so, wouldn't you say, I mean, when you're surfing on the web sometimes, do you just get click happy? You're just going bouncing back and forth,
Sure.
until something really gets your attention, right?
Yeah.
And it has to usually be something a little bit more out of the ordinary, and is pretty powerful. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's really, I think, the key component that you have to do, and that's what I did in that example statement. So when you go review this recording, if you're going to seriously approach launching an online presence, and we haven't even talked about how to go about do that. There's some other steps we're going to do, but you would go back to that statement and use some of that statement and put it maybe into your own words, or you could just crib my words.
For sure.
Okay? Okay, so we've got the first opening statement. We've got our headline, powerful message, grips them, pulls them in, gets them to read the first line. Once they read the first line, and see, this is why I think it's really important that your web page is more like a letter. Because wouldn't you say a letter is like personal?
Yeah.
Someone you get
Talking to them instead of like you're there.
Exactly. This is exactly what I do. I try to imagine myself not sitting there and being a web page talking to them, very impersonal. A web page doesn't talk. People talk, right?
Your little bot. Your bot talks.
Right. I want to make sure that the person is literally, I imagine them sitting there in my office or my massage therapy place, and I'm sitting there talking to them person to person. Right. The only problem is you can't strike a dialogue with people on the web. You can only try to have an entertaining monologue for them to read. So this is the way I do it. And this is really critical. So you've addressed the problem, and obviously you want to give them an understanding. You've gone to a number of massage therapists. Haven't you heard stories, complaints of people?
I have.
Okay. So, like, what kind of complaints have you heard about other massage therapists?
That they don't have a sensitive touch, that they're not strong enough, that
So they're not able to give a deep enough massage.
right.
Okay, so here's what you do. So the second paragraph of your letter to this person, and here's one of the things is you want to make sure your paragraphs are short, maybe one sentence. Why? Because when you look at a block of text, isn't it you get kind of overwhelmed?
Yeah, you don't want to read it.
Exactly. So if you break that up into paragraphs, it allows the eye to follow down when it has spaces.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay? So your next paragraph would be something like, perhaps you've run into this situation, colon. And then you start listing all those complaints you've gotten from people
Right.
about this. And, you know, and people go, yeah, I've identified that.
Right.
I've identified. And see, what you're literally kind of getting the person to do inside is they're going, yeah. And when you got them going, yeah, you got them in a place where you're almost putting them under a trance that this person understands what I need. I got to get in touch with them.
Right.
And then we're going to talk about how you close this up, but we still got a little bit of guts to go.
Yep.
So you've now, on your page, you've addressed some of the potential. Do you have to answer the call or anything?
No,
Are
it's
you
called
good?
fishing.
Okay.
The guts, the fish guts.
Gotcha. Okay, so you've now addressed the problems. You know, perhaps you've run into these situations, blah, blah, blah. You feel like you haven't got the right touch, blah, blah, blah. You list as many as you can because you don't know who that person is and what they've come across, what kind of thing they've come across.
Yeah.
So you're addressing that, and then at the end of that, of your list, your bullet list of all the complaints you've ever received, and you're going to have to sit down and think about them, but you've named a few for me. You're going to then go, you know, this is what I hear a lot of the time is from people just like yourself. So you're saying, you see what I'm saying in that statement? I'm saying,
see 100%.
I understand you.
Right.
I get your thing.
So
now you're going to say, this is how I am different.
So now you've related to them, and then you're setting yourself apart.
Exactly. So now you're going to take them, and wouldn't you say, are you familiar with hypnosis?
A little bit.
Okay. Not technical, I mean, but you put someone under a trance by kind of taking them through a process.
Right.
Okay? And a way, really, to induce some sort of a hypnotic state for most people is, if they're looking for a massage, take them through a literal mental massage on the page.
Okay.
So here's how I'm different. The first thing I do right off the bat is I'm going to understand exactly where you're coming from, the things that you told me in the beginning, what you take as your assessment, what your ailments are, how deep you need, and you're going to explain that you're a guy who is able to give you have this sensitivity about you, and I already know this because I've known you a little bit, and you have this sensitivity about you where you can not only give a light massage, but you can give a heavy massage.
Deep massage, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? Because some people obviously don't have the strength to get really deep in there, and you can obviously leverage your...
Have you had?
What?
You've had massages before, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've had some people that overdo it, and some people that just are so light. I'm like sitting there, am I having a massage, or are they just... Exactly. Exactly. So this is the thing, is you want to bring these things out, you know, and we're going to address, obviously, the lady thing. And that can just be done in one sentence. Now, if you're a lady and you're wondering, listen to how I'm doing. I'm doing very conversational. And you want to write it just like you say it. I even have an article online. It's called "Write Like You Speak, Not as You Think." Yeah. So, as I was just saying it, how did I start it off? If you're a lady and you're feeling a little uneasy, and you're feeling a little uneasy about getting a man giving you a massage, I want you to know that you'll have my home phone number, or whatever it is. We can come up with a really good justification statement.
For sure.
And I will even take your phone call right now and give you a 15-minute consultation to make you feel at ease. Exactly. And that I'm a a qualified professional, and I've been doing this for 20 years, and I have no complaints, with the massage therapy board or whatever it is, your authoritative board, right? Okay. I'm sure there's a place people can complain, right?
There's a board. There's a board.
Exactly. So you put those people already at ease, and there's a way
The
to.
biggest problem with the board is prostitution.
Right.
Hands down.
Gotcha.
That's the one.
Well, yeah, because you have those massage parlors.
That's why it gets more and more expensive and more like rigorous training so that they can avoid those things.
Right. Now, here's the deal. You brought up a really good point. So one of your key selling points is that you can say if you are usually, because you are, you like to keep a small business, you're not a big with a lot of overhead, right? You don't have overhead, right? Because you will travel to the person.
To their house.
Correct. So you will actually do house calls.
Right. Like a doctor would back in the day.
Exactly. So you take the person through and you go, you could tell them, most of the times I will come straight to your on location, wherever you're at, so you feel completely at ease and completely within your own environment. Make sense?
It does.
And it puts them at ease. Already on the page, you've got the elements there that puts them at ease. Now,
you want to paint the picture for them?
You want to paint the picture for them, and then you tell them what you're going to do during the massage, very briefly in like 3-4 paragraphs. And this is, of course, something I can help literally, metaphorically, in a way, massage with you, massaging the text of your message on page. And so let me just Let me just. Oh, the computer thinks it's 3. It's supposed to start now at 4 p.m. I guess we've already started this one, so I'm going to erase that. Huh?
What's?
Oh no, because we had daylight savings time.
Oh.
It thinks that the
live
show
is
the next hour is the show, and it's almost 4 o'clock. So anyway, so let's keep going. So you've taken them through, you kind of put them at ease, you kind of tell them what's going to go on, how it's going to happen, and you're kind of giving them, well, this is exactly really what they want. They want to know how it's going to happen, what's going to happen. A lot of people, you don't have to even go through this.
Yeah, you're right about that.
You've broken through that crust, what you said, exactly. You hit it right on the head.
What?
Cynicism. People have cynicism. They don't trust anybody. They don't trust advertisements. They don't trust people. And that's something you literally have to break through with your words. And that's easily possible with what I'm talking about, how you do it.
With good reason a lot of time.
Exactly. With good reason, absolutely. I mean, people have been burned. So you're putting them at ease. Now, here's one of the things that's really, really cool. Is you can, remember I told you at the beginning of this session, I said, I charge $250 an hour for small businesses and $500 an hour for corporations, which I do. So I kind of built a perceived value for this session. Did that kind of, let me ask you, did that kind of give you a little push to want to to go forward?
Yep.
That's my phone, and I'm guilty of that. I'm going to put it on vibrate. Anyways,
it's an important call, though.
It's not an important call right now because you are the key here for people. I mean, because you're literally, the things you don't know that you already know the things that people are thinking because you're thinking them yourself.
Right, we all do.
Exactly. You just needed to be pointed out by me. I've done this stuff, and I've created these web pages that actually draw people in and get people to order without even calling me.
And you and I both know a perfect candidate for something like a massage, somebody who's wound tighter than a Stradivarius violin, don't we?
Now, if you don't, if you don't use that on your web page, seriously, if this could be like one of your second lines after, if you been dissatisfied with a massage therapist and you need to really get the knots out, blah blah blah. And then the second question is, are you as tightly wound as a Stradivarius violin, right? You see what I'm saying? I mean, literally, you're painting a picture of someone envisioning a cord so tight on that they can, you're relating to them so much, but you're painting a picture in their mind. And when you can paint a picture in someone, right, you've heard that saying, you know, a painting's worth 1,000 words. Well, a word or something you relate to in words can paint a picture instantly for someone in their mind. Right? It's a visual they're giving you. And they're going, wow, this guy really knows what's really going on. So,
what's that? Oh, that's your phone.
That's my phone again. And we're going to ignore that. So anyway, so we've been talking really here about the whole, and we actually have we have a couple people that have joined us here on the show, so don't worry about them. But we're going to stay focused on. Apparently, they thought it was at 4 o'clock, and maybe I did have it set at 4 o'clock, but I thought it was at 3. Let me just check my webinar listing, and it actually is 4 to 5 p.m. I guess. Oops. Anyways, so everyone's going to get this. Everyone's going to get the recording anyways. But we've actually been going for about 40 minutes and talking about how you would.
Now?
Huh?
Didn't we start at 3? It's 4.
Well, we started at 3, but we really kind of got started a little
deeper into it,
starting at 3:10 or so.
Okay.
Anyway, so right now we've kind of got the basis of a web page that's really going to strike a chord within somebody and start getting them relating and start going, yeah, that's me, and basically you're getting them to the point of this person gets me. And really, you painted a picture of what your massage is going to be like to this person, and you've got them literally under a hypnotic trance to the point, yeah, it's awesome, because all you really need to do is literally wake them up from that trance.
Most people don't know how to do that, though.
Right, and that's where you're going to come in. One of the basic hard problems that most people have is, and let me know what you think about this. A lot of web pages are like brochures. When you get to the bottom of the brochure, what do you see there usually?
The bottom of the brochure?
The bottom of a web page.
You know what? I can't think because I usually don't read that far down.
Oh, so they don't usually even get your attention that far. Right. Okay. Right. But I'll tell you what there's usually. Usually it's the last paragraph of what they're trying to say. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what they're missing is, now let's think about real quickly what an infomercial is like. Now, what an infomercial, and I still haven't struck that chord about the perceived value. Let's actually go back to the perceived value thing, and then we'll go to what infomercials do.
Perceived value?
Perceived value. Remember I asked you in the beginning of the call, I told you about how much my hourly rate is, and so that, wouldn't you say when I told you that, that kind of
is establishing value.
It establishes value, right? So you're going to be a little bit more open to the message.
It's more professional because you're actually, what that's saying is that people consider your knowledge and information base to be professional enough that they're going to pay for it.
Right, or it's got value, I better listen up, or I could just walk away and lose the value. Most people will not walk away and lose the value, right? Okay, so one of the reasons I brought that up is I think you've got a really, really key factor going on for you. One is that you have very low overhead because you travel directly to that person's house.
Correct.
The other thing is, and so that's something you're going to bring up, and you could tell them at your normal place where you conduct your massages, where you're at an office, and because you bypass that, you used to normally charge this higher absorbent amount because you had overhead, right?
Right, and now,
And now, I mean, you'd have to pay for that stuff. If you're renting a room for, say, $700, $1,000, you've got to factor that stuff into your massages so you can make it.
So you can make it back.
Right. So you could say, literally, and establish your perceived value. Now, normally, because I want to tell you that, even though you might think that house calls cost more because doctors charge you more to do a house call than they would you going to their office.
But in your case,
because I have such low overhead, I'm able to give you an incredibly low price for a really high quality massage because you've already established quality up above. You've taken them through that.
And the other thing is most people will do an hour massage and charge a certain price. I usually don't look at time as being such an incredible factor unless I've got a lot to do that day or whatever. Then I'll go an hour and a half, for example,
Right.
if you need it, and not charge you extra for it.
Right, right. So that's another thing you can include in your web copy that would tell the person that, to me, I don't, you could say something like, you know, and it's not exactly on the clock. And then you explain, you know, it's not exactly on the hour. You know, and you can explain, sometimes I'm not as busy through the day, so I will give you an extra 15 minutes bonus. Don't you hate it when people just stop right when you're just getting into the massage? And I tend to go sometimes a little bit over. So you're building what? Value, right?
Big value. Right?
Exactly. So you can tell them that I have no overhead, so I'm able to charge you where I used to charge at my Beverly Hills location, because you're out of Beverly Hills. You're building perceived value with the Beverly Hills thing, right? Because I used to charge, you know, what, $125 an hour or for a 50-minute or 60-minute massage, I'm able to, because of very low overhead and being able to go straight to your location, not have an office that I have to upkeep, I can give you my regular $125 massage that I used to charge at $75, whatever it may be. Right? Now you're hitting a button of saving money and building value. Make sense?
Does.
Okay. So you've explained that. So really the next thing, the only thing that you really need to say is obviously your services are in demand.
Yeah, and this is the last thing that you talk about usually, or what?
Right. This is kind of the last, because we're kind of closing it up at the end. We're kind of getting to the point where you're now of established value. You establish you're the solution to the problem. You understand them. You've got rapport with them. You've taken them through a slight little massage and why you were different from everybody else.
Right.
And guess what? Nobody else is doing this explanation.
No, and how many pages usually, because that's the other thing I'm gonna, like, how long should one be that it's not too whatever?
I'm gonna share that with you. I've actually had, and this is funny, I've seen pages that are literally, when you print them out, 50 pages long.
Wow.
But this is for a technical product. Yours is not that much of a technical product. A massage is a massage. No. But I always say the right length is always whatever you have to say, and absolutely cut out all the fat. So it doesn't matter. It could be 5 pages long, because guess what? If someone's
interested, isn't that where the flavor is? I'm just kidding.
Right. But if someone is
kidding.
Literally, no, seriously, if someone is literally looking for the right massage and they're online, I mean, and it doesn't cost them to look at a web page.
No.
If you're giving them great stuff and you're feeding them what they want to hear,
and letting them feel like almost they're my friend and they're in my living room.
There you go. Exactly. You created that ambience, that environment for them. Guess what? You've created a friend by the time they get to the bottom. And if they haven't been, you didn't create a rapport or friendship with this male or a female, then they're obviously incredibly cynical. Wouldn't you say that?
I would say so.
Okay. So the only thing you need to do really at the end is kind of wrap it up. And the wrap up really is, I do, huh?
Oh, and I was saying, yes, what is the wrap up?
Right. The wrap up is usually, one of the things you want to do is you want to make people aware that your services are in demand. Okay? So you obviously schedule things ahead of time. Sometimes people pre-schedule you, wouldn't you say?
Of course.
Okay.
But they don't,
Yeah, no, I'm just saying practically speaking. I'm not saying, this is not to say that you're booked all the time.
No.
I'm just saying there are times where you have maybe a week all booked out.
Sure. And
there are some weeks where are spotty. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you want to kind of create an illusion. There is no illusion. You're in demand, period.
Yeah.
Okay?
Definitely a massage.
Right. And you want to kind of create, that essence of, I usually am booked for the week, and if you want to make sure to get a spot, I urge you to pick up the phone and call me right now for a free 15-minute evaluation.
Yeah.
Right. I usually like to call it an evaluation because a consultation kind of sometimes It
Sounds
feels a little
technical.
salesy. No, it just feels a little salesy is all.
Oh, does it?
No, that's just my preference.
So
But
the
you can run it-
evaluation is that's
An
good.
evaluation is a little softer. It's like,
Mhm.
you know, when you say,
I
I'm
would
going to
say
evaluate your needs
I
and
would
see
say.
if we're a right
Just like that
fit.
baby skin you were talking about.
Exactly, in the beginning. So, literally, your wrap-up is you want to create demand, urgency.
Right.
Because, again, if there's no urgency,
What's the point?
there's no point. Right, exactly. Now, I'm going to put a little final touch on what you're going to be able to do. And
Okay.
you're going to be able to create this when you leave this session that we just did.
Okay.
Now, let's go to this infomercials. We talked about infomercials.
Yes, we did.
Now, obviously, infomercials, when they're running infomercials, I know, it's a little bit tough, but when they're running infomercials, wouldn't you say that infomercials run a lot? And there's some
They do.
infomercials that
They
run
do.
over and over, and you see them on
And
other
looped
channels.
and looped and looped and looped. Yeah.
Right. But would you say that company that's selling that product is putting those infomercials, they got to be making money or else they'd be going out of business with
I would
advertising?
say so.
Okay. So let's talk about just the two elements at the end of an infomercial. I'm sure you've watched an infomercial to its end.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Rarely.
Very rarely. I mean, I do the same because I'm kind of I'm overdone with infomercials. But
I'm ready for movies now.
but there are always suckers that or people.
Oh.
No, I'm not saying suckers
The
in a bad way.
consumers.
The consumers. The
uh,
consumers, the people that are, look, I'm a sucker sometimes too, but there are people that are brand new to the thing and they get hooked. Look, I have I have bought a product and I have watched the infomercial after I got the product of the product I bought.
Hey, well, what's the deal with this bid thing? Because there's this one thing that keeps hitting my emails all the time. It's
Yeah.
not spam necessarily, but it's selling, like, for example, iPads and stuff for $18, and
Right.
because you bid on them.
Right, I think that, yeah, and see, that's oh, is it eBay?
How can they afford that? No, it's
Yeah.
not eBay. It's called iBid or
Oh,
some sort of
okay.
thing that's got bid in its title.
Gotcha.
But it's just, I don't know how they can afford, I don't understand how they're making their money to do
Right.
it.
Well, let me tell you the secret behind that real quick, and then we're going to move on to what is so critical to
Yeah, about
learn
mine.
from infomercials. And that's going to be how you wrap things up.
Sure.
We've already created a lot of perceived value because you're giving them more for less.
For sure.
Because you've now cut out the overhead, right?
Yeah.
And you're a Beverly Hills massage
And
therapist.
there's no middleman. There's just me.
Exactly. Now, so the iBid thing, the reason behind that, and I actually used to be a seller on eBay.
Were you?
Yeah, I was a seller, and I also realized that I also was a buyer as well. I bought some stuff, and I got caught in bidding wars, where you get so caught up in the bidding process of outbidding that fool on the other side.
It's your-
How dare he?
You'll bid higher than the shit's worth.
Thank you. So that whole system is rigged based on the fact
that
that
makes
the
sense.
starting price is $18, but by the time they get finished, it's like literally around the price of what an iPad is if they just went out and bought it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know,
I was
what I'm
just
saying?
wondering, because I was thinking, dang, forget about going to the store to buy an iPad. Why don't I just get on the thing and buy it?
Does that explain sort of the psychology of what they're doing?
It did.
And how
I mean, it does.
yeah. I mean, that's really
It's kind of like it's almost like they have a Vegas attitude with the casinos in Vegas. Where
exactly.
They bring you there, they give you free wine and beer and
There you go.
alcohol and food, and then you're gambling till 4, 5, 6, 8, 12 in the morning. And
Right. That is actually a tool of persuasion. I'll share
What
that
is?
with you.
the food.
Well, basically, yeah. Because there is a factor there. When you give something for free to somebody, they feel literally I'm not
Some
saying
people.
everybody. Some people just love to take the free stuff and give bail, right?
Yeah,
Okay?
okay.
Or whatever. Or they try to squeeze it and not have to pay out money.
Yeah.
But for the majority of people, I'm saying, this is a true psychological trigger, and it's actually documented by a guy. His name is Cialdini. Cialdini. It's like Houdini. He's a guy who wrote a book called Persuasion, And
it's good.
Yeah, and it's very good. It's very good. But it talks about, that's one of the things, is when you give something of free that is of value, the person almost feels obligated to give something back of value. Right. So what's the value? If you give something free and they're at a casino, what are they going to give back?
Money.
Exactly, which produces money for the casino.
Big money.
Exactly, because a lot of people get hooked in on that ching, 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 right?
Like they want to hear that bell ring.
Exactly, it's hypnotic to them actually, and it literally trains them. Now, here's the here's the thing. Okay, let's hop over now to infomercials. Now, you're on an infomercial, and it goes all the way through to the end. What do they usually tell you to do?
They tell you to watch, and see how this product works. They give you
No, we're at the end.
Oh, at the very end?
All the way to the end. What is it that they ask you to do?
They ask you to pull out the credit card and
Not
dial
really.
this number.
Dial the number, exactly.
Dial the number, yeah.
Yeah, and this is the number one key that a lot of people, and you're going to find a lot of massage therapists, and I'm going to guarantee you 97% of the massage therapists online today are not even using this, if it's 99%. Literally, what is happening out there is this is where people fall down.
Okay.
They're ready to close the sale, but they never do.
Because
they fail to close that sale because they forget the most critical element, and that is what I call, it's called, actually in marketing, it's called a call to action.
Call to action.
Right. Call to action is email me, phone me, pick up the phone, dial the number, and get yourself booked now.
Mm-hmm.
Get your spot with Mr. Beverly Hills Massage Therapist. You get what I'm saying. I'm kind of being a little facetious there, but okay. But that's the key there. Now, I want to ask you another thing. What do usually these infomercials do?
What do they do?
What do they? I'm going to be more specific instead of being so general and vague and mysterious.
They sing.
Well, besides that, but at the end, what do they usually do that they offer, which is usually more than the product?
A money back guarantee, or what?
There's a money back guarantee. That's one of the things. And what do you think a money back guarantee does?
It basically tells the consumer that the message I think they're trying to convey is that, look how much our product is worth it. We're going to give you back your money.
We're so
confident that we do what we say we do. That we're going to give you your money if you're not completely satisfied.
Right. So it literally eliminates that one.
The worry.
The worry or the risk, right?
The risk, right.
Okay. No, and the worry. People worry. Is this person going to take my money? Are they going to ship the product? Is he going to give me a massage? Is he ever going to show up at my house?
That would suck.
You know what I'm saying?
I hope people don't do that. They'll give us a bad name.
Well, yeah, but see, this
really
is the
bad
thing. I'm just trying to tell you kind of what people
No, I understand
think.
what you're saying, yeah.
Right. Okay, so what else do they do besides the money back guarantee?
They tell you that they include something else for free.
What is that called?
I don't know what that's called. What is it called? Huh?
A bonus?
A bonus, yeah.
A bonus. Okay, why do you think they do that?
Be as more bait to pull you in.
Bait or
perceived value.
There you go. Wow, they're throwing in this other thing. Now, I think, when you say the bonus has to really kind of relate to the actual thing that's being touted.
It would make
sold.
sense.
Right. So, and this is one of the things I want you to think about.
Okay.
Because this can be applied in any industry. You could give your person a bonus, one of those hand massagers or something like that. You can pay $3.50 for whatever.
Right.
And if you call now, I'm also, as a bonus, you'll also get
this
my most fair. Yeah, exactly. In between our massages, listen to what I'm doing here. In the message in there, in between our massages, you'll be able to have this crafty little device that will work in between those little cracks to get sort of relieve some tension in those knots that you've got in your neck, in your back, in your wherever. And
So
in
that's
between
good.
your massages. Now listen to what I'm saying in there. I'm already assuming that
That
they're
you're
going
getting it.
to get more massages
Right,
with
they're
me.
gonna get more
In
massages.
between our massages, you
Right.
get what I'm saying? It's
Right.
almost like I've
It's already
foretold.
pre-perceived.
Pre-perceived, right. And they're getting this bonus, which is an
And that's a
additional
beautiful
extra value.
thing, right?
And it's a beautiful thing because people always want more. What are we hitting there?
People always want more.
Exactly. So what are we hitting there? What button is that, would you say? People wanting more, 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 more. What are they feeding there?
Agreed.
Exactly. High five on that one. So you see, we're marketing to people's buttons.
Yes.
They're psychological buttons.
Yes.
That gets them to what? To pick up the phone, call you, and book you right now. That's
Right
what
this
you want.
minute. Right
Right.
now.
Right, because guess what?
Not next week. You're gonna miss the opportunity if you wait next week.
Exactly. You may have to wait for 2 weeks when you call next week.
Yeah.
That's why you want to call now. It's the fear of the loss of them not being able to get the knot out
Or the
now.
same deal. Right?
Or the same deal, right? Yeah, exactly. Whatever it may be, but you got to make sure if you're offering a bonus that's time limited, you're going to offer it and cut it off.
Yeah. Like
Okay, a month or whatever it may be. But I would say you don't even need to do that. I mean, you've already established enough perceived value. You're different.
So we already got to the bottom, the end.
We got
of the
to the
page.
bottom. We got to the bottom at the end of the page, and now it's just basically having a big graphical button that says, "Pick up the phone and call now for your 15-minute evaluation." Or what you can do, and this is sort of an advanced trick,
What's
which
that?
I could help you set up.
Of course.
That would be to claim your 15-minute evaluation. Start by entering your name and email address, and I will get you my personal cell phone number so you can contact me for your thing. So you're asking them to go through one little step, right, one little step, and you've entered your name and email address in the pages for something.
Yeah, and then that way they actually will feel like, yeah, I can call.
Correct. Now, here's the plus with this.
What is it?
You now have their email address.
Mm-hmm.
You now have a way to contact them again in the future.
Marketing. Why?
Exactly, because now this is free. It doesn't cost you to email them, does it?
Not even in a sense.
So you now have a way to contact them again, and we can go into another time some more advanced stuff that you can do, like giving away a free report on
Of course.
certain knowledge that you have about the importance of keeping yourself circulation and keeping yourself
Overall
flexible,
healthy.
whatever. And I'm sure you have tips where that's concerned, wouldn't you?
Sure.
Okay. And what is that going to give? Is that going to give some more perceived value to the person?
Of course.
And they're going to be more of your fan.
Because it's going to feed their greed again.
It's going to feed their greed, but more than that, it's building more trust, that they believe in you and that they trust in you.
And it's showing that you care what it is they're going through. It's not just somebody else trying to sell them something.
Exactly. So now it's basically either get them to pick up the phone. You got a graphical thing at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's got to stand out like the headline.
That's
right?
a good
we
thing.
We talked about that, right? The headline's got to stand out because that's going to base them on reading the rest of your stuff. Exactly. So you have that button down at the bottom, and it says either call or enter your name and email address down below to get started and get your 15-minute evaluation.
That's the red button.
Exactly. So now you have the understanding of what your offer is. Now, really what you've just done is, even though it's kind of been sort of like a letter to the person that's giving them what they want to, the problem, the solution, what I do, why I'm different, and this is what it's a brief overview of what it's like, and then why I'm going to give you more perceived value for less.
More than all them.
Exactly, and I will come straight to your location and be at your beck and call, hand in foot.
That's right.
And then when you've done that, you just give them a little bonus. Here's the bonus.
And if you need a martini, I'll mix
now.
you one for free at the end of this.
That's literally kind of the thing. You want to be of what? Service, right?
Yeah.
Totally. So
it's a service business.
It's a service business, exactly. And the bonus, like I was telling you, and when you get your bonus in between our massages together, you'll be able to use this to massage out those little things. This is something that nobody else has or whatever. You try to get something unique.
For a limited time offer.
whatever. No, we don't want to do the
You don't
limited
wanna say
time.
that.
No, you're already got enough perceived value. You've got enough. You've got a bonus in there. You got enough to prep them, and plus, not only that, they're going to get a free 15-minute evaluation. Now, what do you think? Do you think that 15-minute evaluation is going to cost you anything?
No.
Just your time, right?
My time.
And the perceived value that you could receive for having a customer that you gain could be, how much would you say sometimes your lifetime value of a customer is?
Could be a lot.
It could be $1,000. It could be
Or
15,000 over 3-4 years, right? When
Of
you
course,
say that,
of course.
so it's worth it to do a 15-minute
Definitely,
eval.
where there's no question.
So we've covered basically, and I really want to kind of cut it off here. No, I want to cut it off here and make this sort of like a part one, because we'd have to go into some extra stuff.
Deep stuff.
Well, it's not really deep stuff, but it's adding to your knowledge.
And more advanced things.
Well, how do people find you online?
Yeah.
Okay, what kind of keywords do they use? How do you find out what the keywords are they're searching for?
Yeah.
How do you position yourself in front of those keywords to get people to pick up the phone and get real leads coming to your site?
That's it. Because that's the question.
Because let me get this straight with you. Because to get across the power of this, I don't know if you could imagine your one little 2-3 page website getting, for a Los Angeles business, getting, say, 5,000 visitors a month.
That would be a beautiful thing.
Right. And for free. We're talking about for free.
10% or less of them that call.
You're talking about 500 to 50 clients calling up. And you're going to be fielding calls, and you're going to be, guess what, lining people up.
Yeah.
And the truth will become, once you get those, you work up to those visitors.
It's going to set them free, too.
Well, you're going to be more booked up.
That's right.
So the truth of the matter is you'll really be in high demand. You may have to tweak your copy that you're sometimes booked 2 weeks ahead, but you can call right now to make sure and see if I can fit you in within the next 24 hours with someone who canceled.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's really kind of the angle you want to do.
That's the killer deal,
You want to build the urgency, and once you do that, all you have to do is field a call, and really your evaluation is going to be kind of what you do in the beginning of a massage.
Yeah, that's killer.
And that's your system.
That's
your marketing system.
Just like what you're doing for them, you're giving them some free information to the people who are your high end, well, your customers that are like the platinums and the golds. It's showing them how you appreciate them by giving them your time for free.
Exactly. So on that note, we're going to cut this off here as part one, and then we can join back here at our offices for part two, and maybe there may be a part three. But I think we can probably cut it off at part two, make it about 45 minutes to an hour. But taking someone like yourself, a newbie. Now let me ask you something. Do you feel like before we started this session that you've gained some knowledge that will empower you to...
Not before it, now I do, for sure.
Well, now you feel like, before this you started off with...
I didn't know
something.
what, I was ambivalent. didn't know what I was going to do.
Right. So now do you feel like you've gained some knowledge and power to be able to...
And understanding of how it all works and what people are looking for, yes.
Exactly, and how to speak to them.
And how to speak to them where they don't feel like you're some computer device, that you're actually a human being who cares about their well-being, who wants to give them a deal, and yeah.
Yeah, you're not a brochure, basically.
I'm not a brochure. Yeah.
I mean, because that's what so many people
do.
These are our services.
That's what they look like, a brochure.
Yeah, a lot of people. And so do you feel by taking this approach that you are...
I think I'm going to set myself higher than the people that are just black and white and like, here's what our facilities look like, and you will receive a hot stone massage, and this is our costs, and we are a very health-oriented business. Yeah, like some...
Yeah, it's so bland. It's
really
like...
dry.
Right. I mean,
my mouth right now is dry just thinking about it. I need to get more water.
Right. I mean, this is for people that as far as I'm concerned, they're comatose.
And there are those people who exist in the world.
I mean, but the thing is, you literally want to create a page that's going to make someone who's literally falling asleep wake up. Huh?
You know how you and I, as friends, have described some of societal members as cattle?
Yes.
Following the herd. Well, this idea that you just gave me, I just wanted to make this analogy while we're here in the room and sharing amongst friends, is that you seem to, with all these the cattle that are out there, with your system and the way that you market and your nichebot and the whole 9 yards, it's like a cattle prod to the cattle. You wake them up and show them where they need to go.
Well, and this is the thing. People generally inside want to be led to the solution. Mm-hmm. And see, the problem with those brochure things, those brochure sites, it doesn't tell them what to do.
It doesn't.
It just says, here's the services.
And here we go. Here you are. This is how you do it. And that's it.
Right. Do you think now the things that I was telling you and the elements we went through and what you want to use in your webpage
much better
leads people through a process and then
definitely.
And then at the end it tells them what they need to do
and makes them want to do it.
There you go. And motivates them with some psychological triggers.
That's right.
Right. So the next time we get together, we're going to talk about the things that this is great, but stopping here would be a disservice to you because you right now don't have a clue of how people search, what people search for, how would you get in front of them, where are you going to find
the whole line.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're going to cover next from a complete newbie standpoint with you not knowing a thing.
That sounds great to me.
And in fact, we could turn you into a full-fledged case study and really kind of assist you along the way, get you going, helping you, setting up an easy platform for you to be able to type out the content in the page that you want to. We'll help you out with some. We'll donate some graphical services to your
PowerPoint
to your stuff. Well, not PowerPoint stuff, but it's sort of like the stuff that the stuff you need for the graphical element of your site that's going to set that ambiance. Remember,
like on yours,
about that?
Like the nichebot.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll donate some of that stuff to you, so we can continue on, really show people how someone can go from just a stark newbie.
Sounds good. When can we do it?
Well, we'll book the next session and we'll talk then. We'll talk about that when the next session is, but we can make it next Wednesday if you like, if you're available. So let's go ahead and close out the show, and I want to thank everyone for showing up, and we really don't have any time for questions, so we're going to just go straight into the live show wrap-up. But you want to make sure some of the questions we did get we'll cover in the next show. So, let's go ahead and do the live show. Let's go ahead and do the live show wrap up. Any sort of questions you have, you want to make sure to save them for the next show. Every week, Wednesday at 3 p.m. I believe we've now shifted to 4 p.m. A little bit later in the day so that people can show up and have a little more convenience here. And you definitely want to tune in here to overcome your obstacles and start having more and more breakthroughs because you deserve it. Now, you want to make sure to review the Quick Start Guide over at nichebot and get the proper foundation you need to be able to go ahead and really know what you're doing because it explains some fundamental basics. And of course, you want to incorporate one way of getting building backlinks to your site, because a site without backlinks is almost like a store, an actual retail store out in the desert with no highway to it. So, and plus it'll absolutely improve your search engine rankings. So go ahead, jot down your questions and save them for the show. Decide whether you're going to wish to share your URL if you have a live site with the group, and explain your situation in detail with specifics so I can envision the problem. The more information you give me, the more clarity I can give you back in return, and I'm here to help you move forward. So on that note, I want to thank everyone for attending, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next show. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.